junior from Vermont. Mercedes Planovsky, a junior from Albany, who also had her seed time at the Yukon dogfight. A little bit about each of them. So Caitlin Ioka, she didn't come back until February of this year in her training, and then starts training after 10 weeks at home. Took 22 seconds off her steeple time in 2 weeks. She was 4 seconds from the school record at UAlbany, and they're hoping that she can get under 10:30 today because that gives her a shot at competing at New England's and continuing this season that UAlbany's distance runners have really just been battling through a lot of difficulties. Many of them have been injured, and Roberto Vives is excited about this weekend for his distance team.
As he should be. And that's kind of, you don't want to say like the weak link in the program, but it's the category of events that historically Albany is the least dominant in. And if they can build themselves into that well-rounded program, you're looking at a potential regional power. And unfortunately, the team national title in track and field is arbitrary, to say the least, because only individuals can qualify for the NCAA championship meet. And they still award a team title, but it's purely based on who gets the most people there. So, like, if you have one dominant sprinter jumper, say you have someone that wins the long jump, wins the triple jump, and finishes second in the 100. That's 28 points right there. That's probably enough for a top 5 national finish with one athlete. I've seen a D3 school win a national championship with one athlete with 40 points. So it's not to say that they can, like, step in and with this deep, confident team go out there and, you know, score really highly at the NCAAs, because unless they get enough individuals in there, it's not going to matter. But in terms of that regional power, and you look at some of the schools that high-level recruits are going to want to go to, if they can up that distance running program, they don't have a weak spot, and their distance team is on the up and up. And with someone like Ioka, who's third in the conference coming in the steeple, a lot of opportunity to grow.
Setting up the barriers for the women's steeple. Another name to watch is Binghamton's Aziza Chigatyeva. 2 years ago, she was the conference champion. She had hip surgery virtually right after that meet and taken a while to bounce back. It's been a year and a half battle back for her. Come back pretty healthy, a lot of training. Coach called her very, very serious, but very talented, and another one of those student athletes that just doesn't have any drama. The fact that she could be out for 9 months and come back and train at her very best, very, very difficult to come back from.
Yeah, I mean, you're telling me. I mean, very likely, without knowing for sure, a labral tear of some kind. And I had that surgery. It's not fun. And to come back from that, especially as a steepler, where the explosion from your legs, you got to go vertical as well. And to get that range of motion back and to do the physical therapy that you need in order to come back at a high level. And now as the number 4 qualifier into the final here at the America East Championship, a lot to be said for that.
Women are ready on that far side.
I thought they might do a barrel, but I guess they're going to send them 12 wide. So you see that little burst off the line, athletes just jockeying for position, but then they'll not hit the brakes, but kind of take their foot off the throttle a little bit. And Michael, this is exactly what we were talking about with how athletes get into the steeple and the potential to score really highly. I mean, someone like Phoebe Koski, the top seed coming in, 10:31.68, 17:51 5K, that's excellent. That's 9th in America East, but you go from being a potential scorer to the favorite here in the steeple because it's an event that physically not everyone can do, that emotionally not everyone wants to do, and mentally not everyone can do. And if you have all 3 of those, you make yourself a real medal contender.
Coming out of that first lap, the leader, Phoebe Koski from Vermont. 5th-year senior, hung around to take a spring class just to be eligible for this year, pretty much just for this meet. I mean, that's the nature of track and field at college is so cool that you can have eligibility for different seasons and be a multi-sport athlete. And obviously the training is intertwined between the fall sports and the spring sports, but Koski's had to wait a long time for a meet like this.
Well, Kelly Ioka, 10:33.99 is going to be her biggest competitor, and that's someone that she's familiar with, to say the least. I mean, she's a junior, is Kelly Ioka, but then Caitlin, the younger one, 3rd seed coming in all the way down there. So She's not the third seed, sorry, sixth. But nevertheless, I mean, you have Margot Henley as well from UMBC, who's coming through at 11:20, but really rounding into form. So there are a lot of different competitors here that could really make a big time mark on the event, and we'll see how it all shakes out. Jane Layton as well at 10:32, another Catamount. And these two will lead the pack, and 3 out of the top 4 right now are from Vermont.
Layton won the 1500 at UNH, is what Matt Belfield called a tune-up for her. It's been nice to just win events as a tune-up.
Well, that's what it is. I mean, you have fewer people competing in these dual meets, and you're focused in those meets more on running well in the events that you're in, as opposed to maximizing team score and things like that. And your opposition may not necessarily have the class of the field. And like UNH has one entrant in this event, Lauren Dean, so that's not going to be like the most taxing event for them. So it is very much a tune-up, and they win it, fantastic. But you get your confidence up. You learn how to run from the front, which is an important skill to have, because if you find yourself out in the top of the pack right now, that can't be unfamiliar territory for you.
This is the women's 3,000 meter steeple. Already crowned one champion in this event.
Keep an eye on Chigatyeva as well. She's right there. Also, by the way, Terrell Davis's jump, 24:11.25, breaks a 21-year-old record in the event.
Held by David Klemick.
Yeah.
Who played football at Northeastern and then went on to play for the Kansas City Chiefs.
Yeah, you know what's unique about that sentence?
Northeastern?
Nobody, absolutely nobody right now can say that they do that. Northeastern has not had a football program now for quite some time. There is still a football jersey, though, in their gift shop. I've not been able to figure out why.
Because college kids will buy anything to wear to tailgates?
Maybe. What are you tailgating for, though?
A Saturday in college.
We got a 4-pack going, and it's everybody you would expect right now. That little burst up ahead by Kelly Ioka. But Chigatyeva's right there, as are the 2 Catamounts, and Koski and Layton. And Lauren Dean, the sophomore from New Hampshire, just hanging on there within striking distance.
So this is a much different race than what we saw before. When you get late into a close steeple that is for a championship, what's the mentality for each of these athletes?
You can't beat yourself, and that's a sports cliche, but it's very unique to this event in track, because you'd say this about a 5K or a 10K as well, but that's making tactical decisions, when to surge and all that, but the steeple is fraught with moments where if you lose concentration for a second, if you stumble over a barrier, you're putting yourself more or less out of the race, because you have to be beyond strong to get back up to full speed. So you need to keep your focus lasered at all times here. Sometimes it's nice to lose yourself in a race a little bit and just tuck in with the pack. You got to get over the barriers, though, because if you stumble over that, the other 3 won't do it, and you're putting yourself at a huge disadvantage. So it's, again, like, mentally, it's one of the toughest events in track because of things like that. And it's not like the 400 hurdles where it's a minute. I mean, this is a distance race, and it's also, like we just said, one of the most challenging ones mentally, because one little slip up, especially in the water pit, can sink you. No pun intended.
I would like that to be an intended pun.
It
I
wasn't.
Like that.
If I had tried, I wouldn't have done that well.
That same pack of 4, all up there, and then they all know what's on the line.
And this event builds some of the strongest athletes out there. And, at the United States level, you have someone like Emma Coburn, who won the world championship, which for American long-distance running, particularly in the steeplechase, is absolutely unheard of. Very likely an athletic hero for many of the women that are out there competing right now. Just someone who's stuck with it, trained hard, is an excellent racer, just made every tactical move the right way. And right now, there's nothing separating these 4 right now, but Kelly Ioka is the one who's taking it on and doing a lot of the work from the front, and it is mentally so much easier in anything 800 and up if you're not the one at the front of the pack.
Koski and Layton up there for Vermont. The Catamounts knew they could score in this event, but they got a chance for even better than that, a gold and a silver. And Chigatyeva, the really the 4 we expected to be in that pack are all in there.
And seed time-wise, Chigatyeva is well behind the other 3. Koski's 10:31, Ioka's 10:33, Leighton's 10:32, but like 10:41, running in different events, and it was a different setup at the Virginia Challenge in terms of where you were in the pack, and the race is long enough that ability-wise, she's right there with them. This is not out of her element in any way, shape, or form, and she's taken the plunge, gone with it, and could end up getting rewarded with a medal.
Mike Thompson said that nothing Aziza Chigatyeva does will surprise him.
Nope. And what's super unfortunate about this, the way this race is unfolded, is these 4 are the class of the field. These 4 have earned it, and it's going to come down to a kick, it looks like, but one of them is going to find themselves off the podium. Well, everything to fight for here with just a couple of laps to go.
UNH has won 8 of the 18 since 2002, but they're not in the hunt today.
No, they're not. They do have Lauren Dean, who appears to be comfortably fit. She's got about a 50, 60-meter gap on 6th, but this is pack racing at its absolute finest right now.
So Ioka, and then the 2 Catamounts. Number 2 is Phoebe Koski. And then with her, Jane Layton with 11 on her chest. The Bearcat mixed in is Chigatyeva. 2 laps to go for them. It's going to become decision time for one of those 4 at some point here.
It's almost a game of chicken. It's who goes first, who goes when, and who goes with them. Ioka is now falling off the pace just a bit. And she has to make the decision right now. She has to commit. And at this point, she has to know she has to commit, because even if she goes and falters, Dean's not catching her. She's going to be 4th no matter what. You have to attack this. And she's responded in a big way right here as they go over the water jump for the penultimate time.
The Catamount Koski taking a charge. Chigatyeva in 2nd. Layton 3rd. Ioka 4th. And now 4th by a decent margin.
Well, don't take the lead until you're prepared to keep it. It's going to be a long run for home for Chigatyeva.
The bell lap begins. Great finish ahead in the steeple.
Well, Phoebe Koski has covered the move. She's right there, but Chigatyeva has stretched it out. She decided to make the long run for home. And they still got to get over the water jump one more time.
It's Chigatyeva, Koski, and Layton. America's championship on the line.
The medals are surely between these 3.
Crucial piece right here. Final water jump.
Chigatyeva was the best of the 3.
Koski kind of stumbled out of it. Now it's Layton on her heels. Mike Thompson said nothing Chigatyeva did today would surprise him. And it looks like she's going to do it. Aziza Chigatyeva will run away with an America East championship. Layton takes silver. Koski hangs on for bronze. And a really good race for all 4 of them. Ioka comes in and gets 4th.
The good first. Chigatyeva breaks 10:30, cuts 12 seconds off of what she did at the Virginia Challenge. That was a champion's performance right there. Knew exactly what to do, hung in the pack. She decided that it was going to be a 400-meter race. She went for the long run for home and held on. Koski covered the move on the front turn, held it down the backstretch, and then they get to the 3rd turn, and Koski found herself landing 2 feet straight down in the deepest part of the water pit. Layton did an excellent job over the jump. I don't think Chigatyev's water clearance was elite by any means, but it was good enough, and her move at 400 was top-notch stuff. That won her the race right there. Tremendous run by the Binghamton sophomore. And Koski, credit to her, she didn't have a good water jump, but a hard-charging Ioka could have caught her for the bronze if she had thrown in the towel right there. Holds on, gets on the podium, and Vermont doesn't get 18, but they get 14, which is a big mark for them in this event.
Aziza Chigatyeva coming back from hip surgery to do that at the Americas Championships. Nothing short of impressive. We'll get all the final results from this event as soon as they come in and make sure you know everybody who scored, but Steeple didn't disappoint at all.
No, that was an excellent race. That was an excellent race, and it was a perfectly drawn-up race plan by the Binghamton coaching staff and Chigatyeva in particular, because at the end of the day, you can decide how you're going to run the race all you want. Until you get out there on the track, you don't really know how it's going to unfold. And to make a long run for home as a sophomore in an event like the Steeplechase where so much can go wrong, she judged it expertly.